ethical leadership. It is part of the coursework required of you for the professional diploma in procurement and supply under SIPS. Today we're going to start dealing with chapter 1, which is the leadership skills and behaviors that are appropriate for strategically improving the procurement and supply chain function. Okay, I'm going to start obviously with the introductions, and of course knowing that you don't have a course book with you, and I know that starting next week some people are going to join us who do not have who have gone through the process of this module before in the last semester, but I will still assume that all of you guys who are joining this course, I must start with you from first principles and assume that you know nothing so that we can learn you all we know. Great. So I'm immediately going to share my screen with you and then we can get started. All right. So let me just move this little screen on the side and put it on presentation format. Okay, so this is the topic that we're going to be doing, strategic ethical leadership, L6M1, and it's a core module. It's quite bulky. Like I said, we will not waste any time, but we will hit it running. All right, so as a part of the introduction, getting some of the housekeeping done. The course book is about strategic ethical leadership. Like I said, it is important to understand the meaning of both the word strategic and ethical. Okay, so if we break down this first word, strategy, it is made up of two Greek words. The first part is called stratos, which means a group of people. And the second part, EGY, means lead. So strategic is about leading a group of people, all right? So when we talk about strategic ethical leadership, it is leading a group of people ethically. Now we are going to look at the word ethical. Now, I'm sure this one, you being procurement practitioner, you understand it well. To be ethical relates obviously to your moral principles or the principles of what constitutes right or wrong, okay? And ethics have to be defined. You have to understand what are those moral principles which are regarded wrong in a particular society or in a particular organization, and those that are regarded as right in the organization that you are in. So it is important for a leader to understand those things. So the foundation of leadership relies on some of the abilities of leaders listed below. Number one, their ability to make decisions, okay? It is consistent across all leadership that leaders make decisions. You cannot be a leader and shy away from making decisions. And we'll talk about that in more detail as we go along. Number two, influencing people to follow a certain course of action. Now, later on, I'll introduce you to the 4 ways that you can influence, all right? And the people that you influence as a leader could be your managers. It could be, that's vertically your managers and your subordinates, and then horizontally, your colleagues and your friends, okay? People at your same level on the left and on the right, and then people above you, your bosses, and people below you who are your subordinates. It is very important for a leader to be able to influence all those individuals so that you can get them to follow a certain course of action. Okay. The other thing, a characteristic of a leader is directing people and get the best out of them. Leaders work through people. Of course, leaders have to have a following. And because you work through people, you have to see that you are able to direct and get the best out of them. The other one is your ability to take initiative. A leader will not run out of ideas. Okay. And then accepting responsibility, whether it is good or bad. A leader accepts responsibility. If they have to be placed on a pedestal and clapped for the work done, so it shall be. If they have to say sorry, I messed up, so it shall be. If they have not yet started that particular responsibility and the job looks big, the leader will still accept it, okay? And they will do their best. Why? Because they depend on the motivation of the people surrounding them in those 4 directions to ensure that the job is done. All right. And that's why you need to understand this point very clearly, that the acceptance of responsibility as a leader doesn't mean that you know everything. You understand? You accept responsibility because you understand that every task is achieved through people while you are motivating them. The next one, you need to have courage. Okay, leaders have courage. You cannot lead a team of people when you are a coward. You have to have courage. When everybody else is running away and taking cover, as a leader, you need to stand tall, and not from behind, but from the front, and lead your team into achievement of greater things. And then the last one is, which is another important ability of a leader, is you have to have determination, okay? Determination, whether you fail once or you don't, you push forward to ensure that what you are aiming to achieve is achieved. I'll talk to you later about the pursuing of a vision and a mission statement. So this is a very exciting module. You will enjoy it because it talks about things that we experience on a day-to-day basis, some of the things we take for granted as individuals, and you'll see how exciting it will be. And I hope that by the end of this module, you will be such an excellent leader that you'll be sought out for. Some of these things look simple, but not everybody's practicing these, and that's why you don't have much leadership. One of the biggest gaps in society is that we have few leaders and too many people that need to be led. Although each one of us has the capability to become a leader in our own right. Anyway, so let's talk about some other things. So when you finally write this exam, it is going to take a format of a case study. All right. At this level, you will be required to give detailed explanations or analysis of the question, and you'll be expected to use the literature that you have. So please, when you get hold of this book, make sure you study it and understand it, and of course your work experience. All answers must be given in relation to procurement leadership. I've taught this course a couple of times, and I keep advising my students that we know that one of the biggest iconic leader in South Africa is Madiba, but don't use Madiba in the exams as your example for leadership. All right, try shy away from such and use procurement leadership, because this is what is expected of you to learn. Okay. Now, in chapter 1, we are going to be looking at 2 main sub-chapters, which is the critical to evaluate the difference between leadership and management. We'll talk about this. Now, these are quite bulky, and the reason why you've only got 2 of these in chapter 1, because these are the foundation of the whole course. All right. So chapter 1 is the foundation of the whole leadership concept. And then later on, we'll start to learn about some of these techniques and influences that a leader must have, and communications and things like that. But the basis is understand chapter 1, because chapter 1 will help you define this principle of strategic ethical leadership and its subcategories. And then we'll go to the approaches to leadership for improving procurement and supply. So these are the two we'll look at. So let's start with the first one, and seeing, of course, that we have not we have started a bit late. I'm not going to finish it, but I will make sure that whatever we have gone through tonight, you understand it thoroughly well. Okay. So critically evaluate the differences between leadership and management is the first chapter. And let's go defining leadership. What is leadership? Okay, it is a word used in many conversations, but do we know what it is? Let's look at it now. So leadership is about an individual who not only leads, but has followers. Okay, a leader is an individual who leads and has followers. So leadership is about leading people. A leader is someone who can make decisions, someone who can influence others, and someone who takes the initiative. We talked about all these in the abilities of a leader. Now, this guy called Confucius is a Chinese thinker who insisted that leaders had to be virtuous individuals and look after those around them. Virtuous basically just means that they need to be powerful. They must be people of influence or virtue or power, okay, and your ability to look after those around you. Then Peter Drucker defined a leader as someone that has followers. Somebody said in agreement with Peter Drucker that if you do not have followers and you call yourself a leader, you are not leading, you have just gone for a walk alone, a lonely walk. So if you are on a mission to do something and you are a leader, you are leading people, you will have a following of individuals after you. An ethical leader has respect for ethical beliefs, values, and the dignity and rights of others, and leads by example. Characters like Mussolini and Adolf Hitler and those guys, they cannot fall under the same category as ethical leaders. They were huge men of great influence who led a huge number of their followers, but we cannot categorize them as ethical leaders because they did not have respect for ethical beliefs, values, and the dignity and the rights of other people, okay? Now, what you are called to is being an ethical leader, especially in the procurement and environment department. You have to respect the values and beliefs of your organization as a procurement leader. An ethical leader is trustworthy, honest, considerate, and fair to others. If you demonstrate yourself to be a leader, you have to show fairness to other people. They set ethical standards and act according to them. And usually those ethical standards for leaders are very, very high. Okay? They're very, very high. They influence the ethical values of the organization through their behavior. Strategic ethical leaders recognize that culture is important because cultural values are revealed through people's attitudes, behaviors, and decisions. So it is a mouthful in terms of definition of leadership. If you were to be asked this particular question, you will be expected to write things about leading and followers, ability to force initiative, and ethical. So remember to put all this in context whenever you are asked a question to do with leadership. And what we are teaching you is strategic ethical leadership, and strategic has got to do with groups, and it's got to do with people following, and it's got to do with the relevant ethical rights or wrong things that people should do and avoid. Okay. Now let's look at the next topic, which is the role of a leader and the activity of leadership. Now, the charismatic style relies on the charm and persuasiveness of the leader. Okay, that is one style you can have, but we'll talk about others a bit later. As a procurement professional, you should have the qualities and attributes of a strategic ethical leader. Such leaders can set the tone of the organization or the function that they are leading. Because leaders in procurement, strategic ethical leaders lead by example, all right? In an ever-changing environment such as worldwide supply chain management, a leader must constantly evolve. In which area do you evolve? You evolve in terms of technology, okay? And better ways of doing things. Make it easier for your team to achieve the things that they must achieve. All right. Now, from an ethical perspective, you know that criminals are getting smarter. People who are using child labor and forced labor and things like that are beginning to have more, including money laundering characters. As an ethical procurement leader, you have to evolve and understand the ways you can curb all these kinds of things that are happening, that criminals are coming up with. One of the roles that leaders should have is to create vision. It is one of the most important roles of a leader, is to create a vision. The vision provides direction as it describes what the organization needs to be like to succeed in the future. That is what a vision is. And I'll tell you clearly what the distinction between a vision and a mission. The two of them are different. Like it says here, a vision describes what the organization needs to be in the future. Vision is future looking, okay? It's not the now, but the things that you do today, to the steps you take today to help you get to where you're going in the future, those are called missions. So your mission statement are the steps you are taking to take you to your vision. All right, so just keep that at the back of your mind, the distinction between the two. So a leaders also have vision and direction that others want to share and follow. It is a critical thing as a person in procurement. You need to have a vision. And of course, when we work for organizations, the vision that we have is not in contradiction to the vision of the organization, all right? The vision that we have is in total alignment to what our organization vision is. However, as a procurement leader, you need to ensure that that vision is spread throughout your department, your organization. You get everyone on board and you understand the vision thoroughly. Make sure everyone is on board to achieve success for the organization. The leader must understand the organization's mission statement. Like I said, I explained to you what the mission statement is. The leader must be able to clearly communicate the vision and mission in such a way that people will follow. All right. Now, why did I mention the concept of charismatic leader? Your ability to have some form of charisma or charm or persuasiveness is going to help your followers follow your vision. Okay. So that's important, Petronella. If you have not built on your capabilities to be charismatic, to catch and capture your audience as you talk, it will be good for you to start talking to yourself and create something in some place where you are safe and talk to them, try to sell an idea to them. But it is very important for you as you rise in rank in your organization, you become a manager, you have people looking up to you. They will depend, you see, their ability to deliver on the organization's vision will depend on what you tell them as their leader. All right. So that's very important. Other roles, so the leader inspires trust. Okay. If they are credible, then people will follow them. Okay. Credibility is important for a leader. You inspire trust. Your staff members must see that you do not have any hidden agendas at all, but your work, every step you take is about your organization. If they sense the slightest way that you are trying to do something to benefit yourself and not your organization, sure, they will lose trust in you like yesterday. Remember what we said in advanced negotiation, that trust rises like a spiral, and if you mess it up, it falls down faster than it rose. A leader must have discipline and be able to manage strategy and consistently achieve results with others and through others. All right. That's why I said a leader does not shy away from responsibility. They take on responsibility, no matter how big it is, but then they find the right people to work with them to deal with that thing. Okay. So that is very, very important. We'll talk about the types of leadership styles that you can adopt. Of course, it needs to be something that you are able to to do in your line of business. We're talking about procurement here. I'm not talking about leadership of a country. So I'm not saying that because you are a leader, you must become president of South Africa. No, you're not a politician. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about any responsibility to do with procurement and the things that you have been trained for. Okay, I'll talk to you later on about the difference between skills and capabilities. You must have the skill in order for you to pursue some of these things. Capability as well is important, because as a leader you need to be capable. However, leaders may fail if they do not focus on the vital issues of aligning people to the strategy. So leaders fail because they fail to mobilize people. A leader's role is to enable each person. Okay, so as a leader, you need to go within the organization or department or the team and enable each one of them. Enablement means you give them the tools, you give them the motivation that they need, you give them the ideas, that you clarify the vision and make sure that everybody understands what they're coming to do the following day, so that they can realize their true potential with the aim of improving performance and so on. An organization and leader with clear vision can and do inspire potential recruits. All right, so your name, your reputation will go ahead of you when you are a leader who has a clear vision, and people would want to work for you. Leaders understand activities that bring that vision to life. They make it happen and they motivate others to be committed. Leaders understand activities that create an environment that embraces change and innovation. All right. So far, so good. Do you have any questions, Petronella?
So far, so good.
Thank you. Let's look at the activities of leadership. Okay, so we've looked at the roles of leadership. Let's look at the activities that you as a leader will need to do. And like I said, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to upload it on this video, and I'm going to put it on. You need to subscribe to the YouTube channel too for Amilab Training Center. Find the YouTube channel and subscribe to it, because this video is going to be on our YouTube channel as well. Because sometimes people find it difficult to log into onto Teams. So it'll be on the YouTube. You'll be able to view it and view it. You can download it from YouTube and put it on your phone, and you'll be able to listen to it over and over again and read through it. Okay. So activities of leadership. Number one, decision making. An effective leader will have considered all viewpoints before making a decision. So when you are a leader, Petronella, you need to have that temperament of not rushing into decisions. Effective leaders will first wait and listen to all the different viewpoints around the table. And thereafter, they will make a decision. A leader knows that decisions lead to consequences. Therefore, they carry responsibility and accountability. You don't just make a decision anyhow, because as a leader, these have long-term impacts on people's careers. And some of those people that you are making decisions over, they are married men and women, and they've got a whole chain of relatives looking up to them. And you might be calling them by first name, but you, when they go home, they are Uba, Baso, or Uma, Maso, and whatever. But you have to take your time. So in order for you to be successful as a leader, you will often talk about having made the decision based on a gut feel or instinct. Now, this is a very funny concept, because it raises a debate that has been raging, and we'll probably go later on discuss whether leadership is due to nature or nurture. Nurture is it leaders made or they are born? To be natural, it's to be born. To be nurtured is to be made. So many of these leaders who make such profound decisions that eventually turn out to be right, they say they feel the gut feeling. You understand? Some of these are not, you don't use a mathematical formula to decide, but you make a decision, especially to do with the motivation of a person, of an employee, and so on. You use a gut feeling, and this only in leadership you are allowed to make such kind of decisions. When it comes to evaluation of suppliers, that one you don't use your gut, use your mind. 1 + 1 is 2. If 1 + 1 is not 2, then the answer is not correct. But when you have to deal with, remember, leadership is about motivating, it's about inspiring people. So somebody comes to you with a request, and they're asking you to allow them in procurement to work, to start early and finish late. It's a decision that you have to make based on the gut feel that you have. You understand? So there's no right or wrong, but you have to feel that this thing is right. I'm doing the right thing here. And leaders are experts at doing that. They understand when things are really not right, and they should not. They should respond in a particular way. Okay, so then the next one is mentoring others. So number one activity of leaders is making decisions. Number two is mentoring others. Okay, so the sign of a strong leader is helping other people to develop skills and knowledge. Mentoring is very important. It is about helping less experienced individuals called mentees to realize their true potential and improve professionally and personally. However, coaching is different. Now, this is interesting. From now on, you should be able to clarify the difference between mentoring and coaching. Coaching is about supporting an individual achieve specific personal or professional goals through training. Okay. However, mentorship develops capabilities while coaching develops skills. What is the difference between capabilities and skills? This is a question I wanted to mention to you earlier. Capabilities First, let me start with skills. Skills are the things that you are getting now because you're being trained. Okay. Now, capabilities are those, they are not limited to one thing. You can have a skill of fixing motor cars. It is, or let's use procurement. You can have a skill of doing market analysis. You understand, you know how to research data, you know how to go to the internet, you don't know how to analyze and crunch numbers. That is a skill. But when you have a capability is not limited to one area. Okay, so capabilities are those attributes of an individual that are cross-cutting. All right, so mentors develop capabilities. In fact, what they do is that they try to make you, if they see that you are very inward focused, they try to help you broaden your influence so that you are not just concentrating on one area. You have capabilities to relate with multiple people. All right. So that is the difference between mentoring and coaching. So mentoring, it is the initiative is on the mentee normally. So the person who is being mentored is the one that goes forward and engages about the gaps in their life. But with the coaching side, coaching, it is the lecturer. Like I'm saying to you now, I'm the one who brings topics to you that you must know. But if I'm mentoring you, you would come to me and say, if you're my mentee, you come to say, Charles, how do I do this? You understand? And then I can guide you on how to do it. All right. So there is a little table in the book, eventually when you get hold of it, which shows some of the characteristics of mentoring and coaching. It will bring the picture nice and clear to you. Communication is another activity of leadership. The leader communicates the core values, vision, mission statement of the organization to employees and turns the vision and mission into activities to achieve goals of the organization. The leader then monitors performance, identifies relevant individuals, and clearly communicates expectations on performance to ensure achievement of goals. One of the key things about what a leader does is that they will address performance issues, whether it is poor performance or good performance. They'll give accolades to the one that is performing well. They will help the one that is lagging behind in performance. Then the other activities of leadership is they challenging employees to be more innovative. Successful leaders recognize areas that can be improved, and they challenge their people to think creatively and innovatively to help them grow professionally and personally. So what you do is you go through your organization as a leader. There are things that you're not happy with. They're not happening well. So tell your staff, guys, be innovative. We've got this challenge here. We are always wasting time on this process of the supply chain. Can somebody come up with something innovative to help us overcome this? And that helps your own people to grow professionally. Successful leaders recognize that the key to innovative thinking and professional and personal growth is for people to connect and collaborate in an exercise with others. You allow for people to interact and discuss things jointly. All right. So the next one is build positive momentum. So successful leaders recognize that when an in-house business environment has a positive dynamic atmosphere, it results in increased productivity and long-term growth for the business. You create positive momentum. Leaders do not sow discord, all right? They ensure that they provide opportunities for employees to have positive attitude at work. Now, there's a lot of research that is showing that allowing people to do sport will help them to become more, develop better mental skills, such as positive attitudes, positive mental imagery, self-motivation, good people skills. All these can come when you play games with your staff. So find a day where and during working hours, don't do it over their lunch. During normal working hours for an hour, get a basketball and toss it around and let people just have fun without doing work. Some of these mental skills, some mental skills are listed, yeah, like high but realistic goals, yeah, of course. Then control over anxiety and emotions. So all these come as a result of a person exercising and being involved in some kind of sport. All right. So let's look at some of the roles of the CPO. I'll go just another 5 minutes, then I'm going to stop. What are some of the leaders of the procurement organization? What roles do they play? Number one, when you lead procurement, when you are the CPO of procurement, you are a leader, okay, of the procurement. Influencing of stakeholders is another job that you have to do. And, Petronella, these areas cannot be neglected because a lot of people think because they've got a degree in whatever, they don't need to know how to talk to people who have a lower education, who are members of a community, who could be very important stakeholders. You have to build that kind of skill. Procurement knowledge and expertise, of course, that is a given. Managing team, public relations is another aspect. Most organizations today, they even take CPOs for a public speaking course. They teach them about media. I remember when I was heading up one of the departments of procurement, this was part of the training that I received. We had one of the top media people. Those days he used to work for, I think he used to work for E-News or something. He came to do training for us on how to handle public relations and the media and so on, identifying supply chain problems, plan solutions in advance, analytical and technical skills, and control and support suppliers and staff. All these are some of the areas of leadership that you are expected to operate in and be in control as a well-rounded procurement leader. All right. What about the role of a manager and the activity of management? We'll talk a little bit about management. In fact, I will end at this particular slide. The role of management, we've dealt with leadership. Now we'll talk about managers. It is important when we'll go into detail to talk about the distinction between management and leadership, but it is very important for you to know the following. A manager ensures that day-to-day activities are progressing and going according to a plan that they may or may not have devised themselves. The roles of a manager include planning and organizing daily tasks, and then directing and controlling others who will complete the task. According to Drucker, the activities of a manager include the following. Number one, setting objectives for a team or group of people. All right, so you notice it is more about planning, organizing, directing, controlling. Those are the roles of a manager. We'll talk a little bit later because sometimes a manager could be the leader and the leader could be the manager. So you'll be required to perform some of these. They're not insignificant. It's just that now the focus is on leadership. There's a module that you probably did in your advanced diploma, which is management. So that one you have done, but we will just bring a few concepts from there and show you, contrast them to leadership. Then creating the group of people to carry out the work, divide the work into activities, establish appropriate targets, and then developing the individual employee by doing so, enhancing organizations as its people and its most important asset. All right. I'm going to end here. The importance of leadership, we'll deal with it when next week, Monday. I hope to see you again. Please let us know what the challenges are with your logging in and so on. Thank you so much for joining. Let me just stop the recording quickly, then I will open it up for questions. Stop recording.